What's good, everyone, and welcome back to another reaction video. Today we're reacting to video games that punish cheaters. Yeah, I heard of this from a few games. Apparently there's like this thing that developers add to games where if you decide to cheat or something like that, there is going to be consequences. I don't know what type of consequences, but I do know, like, I've heard a few games that have this kind of feature. I can't recall them on the top of my head, but yeah, that's how it is. So with this said, I hope you all enjoyed this reaction video. If you did, hit the like button down below, hit the subscribe button to support the channel, support the content provided, and so on and so forth. Hit the notification button to be notified immediately when your video comes out. And yes, with this said, let's start this video.
Nobody likes a cheater, least of all video game devs. So it shouldn't surprise you to hear that plenty of games have built-in methods to discourage cheating. However, some developers go out of their way to punish cheaters in the wildest ways imaginable. From outrageous anti-piracy measures to seriously harsh consequences for using the
Oh
game's own
god.
systems, here are some video games that punish cheaters. Nonami code.
What?
Cheat codes, remember those? Though not as common
Yeah.
nowadays, you used to be hard-pressed to find a game that didn't let you bash a few buttons and unlock some kooky cheats for your favorite video game. Well, the Konami code is probably the most iconic gaming cheat code in existence.
Oh.
Originally used solely
Up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, start.
in,
uh,
you guessed it, Konami games, the button combo became so famous that other developers started putting it in their games too. And some of them saw it as a golden opportunity for a little trolling. 2002's Super Monkey Ball Jr. for the Game Boy Advance has a silly little surprise for attempted cheaters. When entering the Konami code on the title screen, nothing happens aside from the text being altered to read, "Super nice try." Cheeky, but not the end of the world. Unlike
true.
entering the code in sci-fi shooter Gradius 3.
Hmm?
Doing so in the 1989 SNES release would grant all power-ups, but then completely destroy your ship. Oof, that's gotta hurt. But perhaps the best example of Konami code trolling appears in 2003's Silent Hill 3. Players that use the code after
Silent.
beating the game once receive an interesting reward. Supporting character Douglas Cartland will appear in his underwear for the entirety of your playthrough.
I was gonna say Silent Hill. That's the game where, there was this cult, like, village, town, or whatever that killed a girl, and and she was separated by mind, body, and soul, right? At least that's what I
That's
think.
literally it. No infinite ammo, no crazy unlocks, no invincibility, just a middle-aged man and his boxers. The game even sighs at you when you enter the code. Imagine the disappointment.
That's not a sigh. That's like a
One
moan.
cheat too far. The 1998 N64 classic Banjo-Kazooie is known for its tight platforming,
Oh.
iconic soundtrack, and dry British humor. But some things in
Mm-hmm.
the game aren't funny in the slightest. Basically, there's a dedicated cheat room that allows you to enter codes for some sweet bonuses. Level skips, infinite supplies, you name it, you can probably get it. But there's a catch. If the player enters 2 codes in a row that are deemed illegal, that'll be the likes of those level skips, the villain of the piece makes an appearance. Gruntilda the Evil Witch will let you know outright that you're on thin ice, claiming that entering another illegal code will cause her to completely erase your save game. Hang on, what? That can't be true, right? Well, bashing in another code reveals that, whoops, it is. Old Grunty will pop up and tell you that you're out of luck. And the next time you exit to the main menu, you'll see that your entire save is gone. Countless hours up in flames, all because you wanted to take the easy route. Damn, that's harsh. The easy route to
Fair.
unimaginable levels of incredible knowledge is simple, though. Just leave a like and subscribe to my channel to make sure you never miss out on another fact-filled video like this one. Got it? Alright
Okay.
then, let's go. Sorry, Spyro.
Spyro.
2000 Spyro 3 Year of the
Oh, yeah, that game. I remember that one. Never played it, to be honest, but I've seen a lot of good trailers about it. It did catch my interest here and there, but not enough to make me go out and buy the game.
Dragon on PlayStation 1 is one of the best games ever made, and I won't hear otherwise. It's also got one of the most savage anti-piracy measures imaginable, so buckle up. PS1 discs were notoriously difficult to copy because of a series of unique wiggles imprinted on each disc that determined region and legality. Basically, the disk drive would read the wiggles, and if any were missing or wrong, it'd know you're using an illegal copy. In response to this, hackers started installing special mod chips in consoles capable of bypassing this measure and fooling the PlayStation into thinking any disc was legit. Only some games had ways to detect these chips, like Spyro 3. And developer Insomniac had left some nasty surprises in the game for hackers. The hack game will run normally at first. Players can explore levels, collect gems, all that good stuff. However, when they run into Zoe, the fairy, near the end of the first world, she says something unsettling.
I'm sorry, Spyro, but you seem to be playing a hacked version of this game. This may be an illegal copy. Since this copy has been modified, you may experience problems that would not occur on a legal copy.
Okay. From then on, the game seems to play fine, until it doesn't. Collected gems and eggs randomly disappear from the player's inventory, forcing them to replay old levels to maintain their totals. Even worse, the game will randomly crash, Spyro's health will drop and can't be restored again, and the language will randomly change in PAL copies.
Necesitamos joyas ya, o la puerta no se abrirá ni de aquí a una
Damn.
eternidad.
Sounds like a nightmare, huh? But if a particularly persistent hacker wanted to put in the hard work to finish the game, they'd be in for a shock. After defeating the final boss, the player is then immediately teleported to the beginning of the game, and their save file is completely wiped. Jeez, now that's how you deal with pirates. A bad time. 2015's
Oh,
Undertale is a quirky, funny RPG with multiple different ways to play it. Players can attempt to talk to foes and resolve things peacefully, or just destroy everything in their path. But what if I told you that there's another option? In the original PC release, the players can always just cheat. By hopping into the game files and manipulating them, it's technically possible to skip over huge portions of the game and reach the end early. Now, Undertale's endings are determined based on milestones the player reaches and how they choose to proceed. For example, whether they chose to spare or eliminate a certain boss. But what if, after manipulating the game files, you give contrasting info? What if you told it that you were on a pacifist run, but you'd still killed some characters? Or what if you skipped to the end without participating in enough choices to get any ending? In those cases, the game can't determine which ending you receive, so what happens? Well, like normal, the friendly skeletal NPC Sans speaks with the player, but this time, something's different. Well, okay then. After that, the player
okay.
is booted back to the main menu. Frankly, though, if you've edited the game files to skip the actual gameplay of the game you've bought, the very least you deserve is to get called out. Reset Revenge.
I honestly would prefer that than to fight Sans one-on-one, where it's level 1 and he does max damage that a genocidal player would have to face. No, thank you. Rather not do that.
Animal Crossing is probably the last game that comes to mind when you think of cheating. I mean, what the heck would you cheat for? It's a relaxing life sim about making money and friends. Well, developer Nintendo was actually pretty concerned about it. See, in-game shops and prices change each day. So in the original game, it would be totally possible for players to boot up the game, check what was on offer, and simply change the date on their device and reset if they didn't like what they saw. Over and over again. Pretty cheesy, right? Yep, so Nintendo came up with a solution. Resetting the game without saving caused Mr. Resetti to appear. He'll give players a polite message about how important it is to save before resetting. Polite but long-winded and unskippable. Annoying. Reset again? Resetti reappears less polite than before. Every time you reset, he gets angrier and more long-winded. He may even ask the player to write out an apology. Nintendo's idea was to make the process of resetting as laborious as possible to discourage cheaters. It's kind of genius, really.
It is,
Nowadays, though,
really.
Mr. Rossetti has been retired from the series with the advent of autosave making the manipulation of dates impossible. Plus, he also terrified a lot of kids. Not that I'd know anything about that. He never scared me, I swear. Clucking pirates.
What?
When it comes to shooters, one thing has to be satisfying or there's just no point in playing. The shooting, duh. So developer Crytek had a delightfully devilish idea when looking to protect 2008's Crisis Warhead from pirates. Criminals who tried to grab a free copy of the explosive shooter received a particularly unique punishment. Pirated copies replace all of your bullets with chickens.
What the heck?
Amazing. And yeah, the chickens are basically useless. Don't expect to be getting very far with your poultry guns. The very best part? The crazy quirk caused a whole shed-load of people to post online asking how to fix this strange glitch. Amazing. I love it when hackers out themselves. Funnily enough, a lot of legitimate players saw the post and wanted to try it out themselves. Guess there's a real gap in the market for Cluck of Duty Barnyard Warfare. Dunces.
Oh,
The
Grand Theft
online mode
Auto.
of 2013's groundbreakingly popular Grand Theft Auto 5 is absolute chaos. Some people want to cause utter mayhem, blowing things up and crashing cars. Others would rather roleplay as a regular Joe going to work to try and avoid the carnage around them, for some reason, I guess. Point is, it's full of a huge variety of playstyles, including, unfortunately, cheaters and bad sports. Developer Rockstar knows this and didn't want the game to devolve into something completely unfun for its players, so they came up with a solution. Cheaters and nasty players, that is, those who've either hacked the game or get their kicks from griefing other players, are given a neat little hat, a dunce cap, just so everybody knows that they're no good. On top of that, they're booted to a dedicated lobby filled only with other dunces. And if you thought the normal lobbies got bad, the dunce lobbies are the wild west of the GTA world. These villains are stuck in loser limbo for a few days before being allowed to return to regular lobbies. So
Oh,
if they're repeat offenders, they stay there even longer. That's the stuff. Let the dregs ruin each other's days instead of ours.
that's actually pretty genius. And understandable. You become a cheater, you're getting kicked out of the main lobby and put into this one lobby where people like you belong. Seems fair.
Batman's bad day. Whether you believe
What?
Batman is the greatest superhero in the world or not, you can't deny that he's pretty darn cool. And his laundry list of
True.
funky gadgets makes playing as him in 2009's Batman Arkham Asylum a total blast. Unless you pirate the game, of course.
Of course,
Those
people
players
would.
that try to grab an illegal copy will find themselves totally unable to glide using the Bat's big ol' cape. Given that gliding is absolutely essential to traversing large gaps and by extension progressing in the game, criminals are square out of luck. The grappling hook becomes equally unhelpful. Instead of attaching to regular grapple points and allowing Batsy to reach high places, it'll randomly attach to out-of-bounds grapple points, sending the player directly to their doom. So the game becomes Batman, without any Batman stuff. You may as well be playing as Alfred. Over on the forums of publisher Eidos, players outed themselves as pirates by asking how to fix the strange glitch they'd encountered. In one infamous example, a forum admin responded by revealing the truth about the anti-piracy measures, before dropping a one-liner that wouldn't sound out of place coming from Batman himself. It's not a bug in the game's code. It's a bug in your moral code.
Damn.
That's no moon. Star Wars and Indiana Jones creator
That does sound like a Batman thing.
George Lucas's name may be synonymous with film, but there was once a time that it held clout in the gaming industry too. LucasArts was originally a licensor and developer that created some truly unique games back in the day, including one called Afterlife. The 1996 release is a city-building game like SimCity, only instead of an ordinary city, it revolves around building a functioning heaven and hell. As well as roads and
Okay.
infrastructure, players can also erect magical buildings like reincarnation centers. It makes sense in the game, I promise. Like other city builders, the player needs a whole load of cash to build a prosperous afterlife. But if a player doesn't want to play by the rules, well, there are in-game codes that can be used to get extra moolah. LucasArts didn't want you abusing them, though. Use them one too many times, and, well, a familiar phrase pops up on screen.
Is that the Death Star?
The Death Star makes an unwelcome appearance and starts blasting apart the world that you spent so long building. I don't know what I was expecting, but it definitely wasn't that. Unfortunately, if your cheating butt gets struck down here, you won't become more powerful than anybody could possibly imagine. You'll just lose a whole load of progress. Warzone Wizardry. Unless you've been
Wait,
living
Warzone had a glitch? I mean, a thing that punished cheaters?
You'll know Call of Duty Warzone is an online battle royale spinoff created in 2020 to ride the hype of games like Fortnite and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Naturally, these games are hugely competitive, causing players desperate for that sweet victory royale to either put in the grind or cheat, of course. Now, Call of Duty has always been notorious as a hacker's paradise, but this time developers Raven and Infinity Ward decided to take action. They implemented anti-cheat software called Ricochet and used it to create some nasty surprises for hackers. Did you catch that? As our cheater started to fire on a legit player, the legit player turned completely invisible and was able to take him down. Each player attacked by a cheater basically becomes a supernatural ninja that hackers can't defeat. Ha! Talk about karma. However, it's worth noting that anti-cheat software like Ricochet is notoriously shoddy and unreliable. So since this countermeasure was implemented, hackers have found ways to get around it, and in some cases even make themselves invisible.
My God.
Wait, no, he's just invisible. He's just literally invisible. He's not under the map.
Damn. Well, that kind of puts a damper on the whole karma idea, I guess. Fade away.
I'm gonna be honest, that was like the terrible way to go about any way to stop a cheater. Like, that was the most unreliable way to do it. Like, there's no way to prevent a hacker from trying to find a different way or use the disadvantages for themselves. Like, what the heck?
2009's tactical shooter Arma 2 is well known for both its realistic combat and insane anti-piracy measures. The game features a program called Fade, which is designed to cause a cracked copy of Arma to slowly descend into what can only be described as madness. To begin, everything will seem normal, until the player's accuracy is suddenly and dramatically reduced. Okay, right away that makes the game basically impossible to play. And that's just the beginning. Following this, the title cards will start flashing up mid-play before the player's view goes all wibbly.
Oh, no. That must have been terrible.
Ugh, that made me nauseous, but things
Exactly.
only get worse. Finally, the pirate will be, wait for it, transmogrified into a bird and sent flapping on their way. Yep, seriously. This will be accompanied by a message reading, "Good birds don't fly away from this game. I have only myself to blame." Well, if being turned into a frickin' bird won't teach pirates a lesson about stealing video games, I don't know what will. Not that super.
Huh?
Anybody remember the 2006 movie Superman Returns? No?
A
Not
bit.
many do. It was a largely forgettable flick that didn't do too well at the box office.
True.
So the chances you played its tie-in video game of the same name are next to none.
Not
It
really.
was a pretty poor movie tie-in aside from one thing: how it handled cheating players. See, like other better games, Superman Returns had a built-in cheat menu where players could enter codes for bonuses, but I wouldn't recommend using them. The moment that a player pops one of those codes into the menu, they receive a 0 gamer score achievement called Not That Super, complete with a condescending image of Superman wagging his finger at you. The description reads, entered a cheat code in a desperate plea for help. Wow, that'd make anybody feel pathetic. But that's not all. After cheating and being awarded this achievement, you'll be completely unable to unlock any other more desirable ones. Given how much gamers love achievements, that's a big deal. There's nothing quite like heading into a game expecting to feel like a super-powered muscle man and leaving feeling like a total loser. Then again, if you bought this travesty of a game, maybe you deserve it. Dude.
Yeah, I know someone that owned the Superman game. He said it was bad. I wanted to test it out. He let me test it out on his station. It was awful. Like, there was no redeeming quality to that Superman game. It was just boring. Like, you're just following the motions and all that, and it's not really appealing.
If I told you that at one point, what you're about to see was one of the most impressive video games ever released, would you believe me? Well, it was. This is Doom.
True.
And when it released in 1993, it changed the gaming landscape forever. After its resounding success, the developer id Software knew there was lots of money to be made from similar shooters, so a year later they published dark fantasy shooter Heretic on the same engine. Heretic proved a big hit, especially among fans of Doom, only it had a tricksy little secret. See, Doom had several cheat codes that could be entered to activate significant boosts like invincibility or equipping every weapon. And because Heretic ran on the same engine, longtime Doom players assumed those same codes might yield similar results. Like this one, which should grant invulnerability. Ouch. Yeah, in Heretic it straight up kills you. Okay, well, what about unlocking all weapons? Ooh, man, that's harsh.
That's a
The
stick.
player loses all their weapons and gets a shoddy stick instead. Yeah, if you try and cheat on Heretic, all you get is Doom. Soul.
Oh.
For anybody that's never had the pleasure of playing The Sims, it's a life simulation game that tasks you with maintaining the lives of several simulated people or Sims. Well, maintaining or destroying. There's nothing stopping you from burning their houses down. Anyway, when Sims 4 was released in 2014, it came with some anti-piracy protection that was supremely fitting.
Okay.
Essentially, in the day-to-day, you need to tell your Sims to do basic tasks. I'm talking sleeping, eating, and showering. So to make sure players don't have to see their Polygon pals in the nude, they'll become pixelated to protect their modesty. After leaving the shower and getting dressed, the pixelation will vanish. At least it should, if you're using a legal copy of the game. Pirated copies won't remove the pixelation, ever. What's more, like some kind of anti-fun virus, the pixelation will spread until it covers the entirety of the game screen. Good luck playing when you can't see jack. At that point, a pirate is basically forced to buy the game legally if they want to get any kind of enjoyment from it whatsoever. Unless they happen to really enjoy vague shapes, in which case they'd have been better off pirating an old Atari game.
I mean, not
The
wrong.
Bovine Defense Force.
Which game is this?
Witcher 3, a sprawling open
Oh,
world RPG
okay.
full of interesting choices and opportunities to profit from them. At the start of the game, however, the player is confined to a relatively small opening area and only given the opportunity to gain minor amounts of gold as they explore. So some players were a little impatient. They wanted to get rich straight away and came up with a cheeky way of doing so. There are
Okay.
some poor defenseless cows in the area that just so happen to drop cowhide if you slay them. Now cowhide can only be sold for a small amount of cash, so it'd hardly make a guy rich. Unless,
True.
of course, you had infinite cowhide, right? Well, conniving players realized they could get the cows to endlessly respawn by meditating. See, meditating effectively jumps the game forward in time and reloads all of the assets, including the cows. So players could repeatedly slaughter them, farm and sell their hides, and meditate until they had an absolute boatload of gold. all before even leaving the starting town. Naturally, developer CD Projekt Red wasn't too happy about this, and they wanted to punish players that exploited it. The solution? The Bovine Defense Force. It might sound like a particularly crappy anime, but it was actually a genius bit of coding. See, after an update, if a player used the meditation method to kill more than 5 cows, they'd be in for a nasty surprise. Oh
Okay.
man, that's a super tough monster that's way over leveled for this section of the game. Any exploiters would be suddenly faced with this bad boy, ensuring their attempt to make a quick buck would backfire badly. Yeah, it might be called a chort, but the only ones chortling were the devs.
Like, could you defeat it though? I mean, it sounds like a good endgame boss to fight, being the thing that the creators develop. But if you can't, and it's just gonna follow you around and mess with you, then nah, not worth it. Not really. At all.
Boom Raider.
Wait, what?
When Tomb Raider was first launched back in 1996, nobody could have predicted how massive it ended up becoming. The game sold gangbusters and wound up starting one of the most recognizable franchises ever. Lara Croft became an icon, so when the sequel Tomb Raider 2 came around in 97, the hype was crazy. Players quickly discovered an oddity, however. When entering a certain combination of buttons, Laura just kind of explodes?
What? Ah, yes.
Well, that's interesting. What the heck is the deal? Well, on the PC version of the first game, entering this button combo gave the player all the weapons. Aha! So it's a troll against old fans who expected the same cheat, right? Well, that's entirely possible, but there's another more explicit theory. See, gamers liked Lara. I mean, they really liked her. So much so that a rumor started to spread that a secret code in the first game would make her, change into her birthday suit. This
Oh.
so-called Nude Raider code rumor just wouldn't die. So the story goes that a developer on Tomb Raider 2 created the exploding cheat and leaked it to outlets himself, claiming that it was the Nude Raider code. That way, perverted gamers would try to get a peek at Laura's Crofts and wind up getting a pretty harsh game over instead. Haha. I really
Jeez.
want that to be the truth, but to this day, nobody knows for sure. Whatever the case, it's
could be
definitely one of
both.
the coolest video game trolls of all time. Whew. And on that note, I've had all the cheater punishing I can.
I have to say though, that's a fair thing. That was a fair code to do. Infinite weapons, infinite ammo, and all that makes sense that you would do something for cheaters like that. The code set they made for pirated players also very ingenious. But for the last cheat punishment, I believe it was both. Someone trying to get infinite ammo and trying to do this and trying to do a prank for this one code that people thought was true. At least that's what I believe is the matter going on involving that catastrophe. So yeah, that's what I believe in the matter. But if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button down below. Hit the subscribe button to support the channel, support the content provided, and so on and so forth. Hit the notification button to be notified immediately when a new video comes out. And honestly, tell me what you think about this video yourself. Honestly, I have to say my favorite cheat was the one for GTA 5. You all know how bad it was. Actually, you probably all do. But yeah, it's an annoying thing when you're trying to play a normal, casual game, and then bam, people are killing you left and right just to be freaking annoying. I hate those times. I really do. Because they show you no mercy whatsoever. But yes, with this all said, tell me what you think about this, and tell me what your favorite cheat was that was used. Tell me your favorite cheat that was punished well, or I guess the proper way to say it is, which cheat punishment did you like the most? And again, be sure to give BMA some love and support for the video they made. The link to the video is going to be down in the description below, so be sure to check that out and give them love and support. And other than that, with this all said, I'll see y'all next time. Bye!